I wanted to throw a couple shipping stocks out there. So when you look at supply being shipped and you're looking at oil plus inflation plus demand, one thing that won't change is no matter what the price of oil is, shipping containers are going to set their own price. And shipping is always going to make sure that they make their money. And the higher the shipping cost to ship the oil, the more the oil is going to be priced upwards. So when you look at fleets that have been rebuilding and building back up, TNK, the Teekay Tankers Ltd, and NAT, Nordic America Tankers, I've checked those two stocks out. They've definitely been two that have been on my list for a while. When you look at shipping supplies as far as oil goes, no matter what their price goes, and if their inflation on shipping goes up, then you're going to see that inflation hit at the pump. With TNK, I think that they're one of those stocks that coming through the years, they definitely could be valued at $50 come 2022, 2023. If they continue and if inflation hits the shipping market hard and with shipping gas goes up, with the EV market being pushed and the green deals, you could definitely see this become a $50 to $100 to $150 stock. I think if you're looking at a play for 5 years in the shipping industry and you're looking at oil, if you're investing in oil stocks, energy stocks, you definitely want to see how that oil is being shipped in places. And I think this is one company that kind of puts itself on the board and separates itself. They've already went through a big bull pattern. They came through 2020. You can see where they're still up. Came through, went through the dip like everybody else. Now they're rising back up slow, rebuilding their fleet. They have a lot of stuff going for them. As they climb back up, I think the 1279 mark is very conservative. If you can get in below the 16 mark, I think you'll do well in this company. I still think if you get below the 21 mark, and if you're holding this company for a couple of years, you're going to do good. Getting below that 25 mark, you'll still do good. If you're valuing 5 years out, I think this company definitely can be that $100 stock. And that's looking back that if you go back 10 years, you could definitely see where in 10 years you could definitely be looking at, $140, $150 stock possibly if they reversed where they were, rebuilding a new fleet, doing what they need to do. And that's with TNK. You look at NAT, and I think they're another one that if they rise up, you go back to 2002, look at some of their stuff on their graph, they could be that stock that over the next 5-10 years, they could be a $50 stock easily. Especially in the tanker moving market of oil, they definitely have that position where if the shipping industry is hit with inflation, they set their own prices. So one thing to remember is members of NAT buy stock in NAT. So a company that invests in itself, the people, employees invest in themselves, they believe in the stock, it's always a good sign in a company. With NAT, you can definitely look here that, they're at 2.31, but I would say they're definitely heading over that $3 mark. They're heading towards that 6, and maybe going into early 2022, you could see them up to $10. If they can reach that $10 mark, who knows where they can go to after that in 2022 to 2023 if the demand is there and people are looking to ship it, and there's only so many fleets out there that are really shipping and doing a good job at getting their product where they need to get and can be reliable. I think this company could become one of those reliable sources to be able to push that oil across the seas and where it needs to go. Compared to the S&P 500, for people that are into the S&P 500, always remember they're definitely on a growth pattern. You look back, and I definitely see them going over that 5,000 going into 2022. So I don't necessarily see them slowing down. They've been a straight up trajectory for a while. When you look at the S&P and you go back just looking at the last 5 years, You can see where even during the pandemic, things hit, but the S&P rebounded fast. But the S&P's always been on an uphill climb. I don't necessarily see that freight train stopping. I see them going over 5,000 in 2022. So this is just a recap on a couple oil stocks. Make sure you do your research. Sure you do your due diligence. Do your knowledge. Pay it forward to yourself. That's the greatest wealth that you can give yourself, is just research. Stay on top of your stocks. You invest in them, see what's coming out. Check their quarters. Check their stuff. Don't have the fear of missing out. Don't pull that trigger. Make sure you buy in low. Make sure your entry level is key. Make sure you're on top of everything that you're doing before you invest, because it's risky. Make sure your risk tolerance is where it needs to be. Make sure that your pocketbook can handle your risk on what you're taking, or that long hold play that you need to hold out 6 months, a year, 18 months to see full fruition on the stock you're investing in. So I hope some of this information helps. Hope everyone has a good week. And remember that September 28th deadline, it's came. Now we're going to see what happens on September 29th. And hopefully anybody in the OTC, those gray markets, remember holding out. You still, after all this stuff, you still might see some stuff come out here in October. See some companies catch up once everything's caught up. You still might see something. So keep hope on your stocks. Keep faith in the ones that you're doing your homework on. The ones where you're actually seeing the quarterly financials pay out. Ones where you actually see revenue coming in. Make sure you're careful going into the OTC stocks now. Make sure you do your research. Have a good day, everybody.